So when I think about the presentation we just saw on what is blockchain, at the end of the day, I think about blockchain as something that can enable two parties to transact without a central counterparty. I've gotten the question before of, is Ripple a blockchain company? Is Ripple a crypto company? What is Ripple? And I've said, Ripple's a payments company. We're solving a payments problem. We happen to use blockchain technologies. We happen to use a digital asset to solve that problem. But at its core, Ripple is selling solutions to banks, to financial institutions, to payment providers globally that enables them to transact with much lower cost, much faster, and to improve, I'll just generically for now, we go deeper later, but around how liquidity is managed, how cross-border transactions are managed. You're talking about trillions of dollars that is parked in these accounts around the world to help enable payments. And Ripple is making that far more efficient by using blockchain technologies, by using a digital asset. The kind of one that we use is XRP, as you introduced, and I can talk more about how that works too.
Solo Scrooge, sending peace and blessings to you all out there. Hashtag Solo Nation. How's it going, my people? Hope everyone's well. Appreciate you all for the love and support of the channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. We're giving you updates on Sologenic, Coreum and XRP. Also hit the like button. That helps push the channel through the analytics, through the algorithm, and helps the channel grow. So my people, I haven't done a video in about 7 days. I've been painting, trying to paint the house, trying to get it right, trying to get it in order, and I've been tired. So just saw a clip from Brad Gardenhouse, and that's an old clip. I like Brad's enthusiasm. Shout out to Brad. So Ripple joins BIS Cross-Border Payments Task Force. So the task force is a part of the Bank of International Settlements Committee on Payments and Market Infrastructure. The Bank of International Settlements, BIS, recently announced a cross-border payments interoperability extension, PIE, task force that includes blockchain-based digital payment network Ripple. On August 9th, BIS shared a summary of its PIE task force May 11th meeting, in which it says that the members of the task force will work to enhance cross-border payments and meet the quantitative targets for cross-border payments endorsed by the G20. The task force is a part of the BIS Committee on Payments and Market Infrastructure. Interesting, so the BIS tweeted, the BIS Committee on Payments and Market Infrastructures has announced the membership of its cross-border payments interoperability and extension task force. Further details look here. So according to BIS, the PIE task force will also enhance cross-border payments by improving access to payment systems, extending payment system operating hours, and creating links between different payment systems, including linking application programming, interfaces, and aspects of messaging. You see it's got Ripple here, look, Swift there. As a member of the task force, Ripple will work with other organizations such as Mastercard and Swift to fulfill BIS' goal of improving the interoperability of cross-border payments. BIS also highlighted that improvements to payment systems require global coordination and cooperation between stakeholders in both the public and private sectors. Meanwhile, in a recent update on the lawsuit between the United States Securities and Exchange Commission and Ripple Labs, the SEC is looking for an interlocutory appeal. On August 9th, the SEC sent a letter to the judge presiding over the case, saying that the decision warrants a fresh look by an appellate court. The SEC believes a review is warranted, asking the ruling to be reviewed even while the case is still pending. So that's big business. As a member of the task force, Ripple will work with other organizations such as Mastercard and Swift. Come on, my people. We'll see what's going on out here. We can see what's happening. So Ripple posted, over 90% of central banks are now exploring CBDCs. Ripple's James Wallace expects many more will go into production at some scale within the next several years. You can learn more. I'm going to post a link to that article down there. To ISO 20022, let's do it, posted. David Andafato from the US Federal Reserve. The Fed could delegate settlement to the third party like Ripple. Let's hear what he's saying.
Fed is, people say, how can you trust, the Fed to do the bookkeeping? I mean, my response is, you don't expect the Fed to kind of steal your money. I mean, if the Fed can print all the money at once, it's not going to mess around with your bookkeeping. So, we have this big spreadsheet, the blockchain if you want, but it's just managed by the Fed. And it's very cheap, much cheaper than Bitcoin, if you're willing to delegate the responsibility to a third party. But then the downsides to all of that, of course, is you'd actually, suppose you didn't want the Fed to be responsible for processing the payments. I mean, suppose, the Fed will likely impose some KYC restrictions on some purchases. They might not process some purchases that you might want to undertake. And so it was at that point that I said, well, we could, if we wanted to, extend the concept one step further. I'm not saying that this is ever going to happen, but just conceptually, you could imagine not FedWire for all, but kind of like a Fed coin, where what the Fed would do is actually just issue these, Bitcoin-like objects, but and they would enforce a par exchange rate with the U.S. dollar. That would eliminate the exchange rate volatility. But they could delegate the clearing of these payments to some third party, some sort of Ripple-like protocol, or possibly even Bitcoin. I mean, we could delegate the responsibility of processing these electronic, Fedcoin payments to the miners.
He said you can delegate it through a Ripple type protocol or Bitcoin. Come on, David. You mean XRP? Come on, that's what you mean. So what your guru posted. Never forget when a US congressman said maybe we do print money out of thin air, but we're the US government.
Crypto bros make money literally by making money, and they've made over $1 trillion out of thin air. They'll accuse the US government of making money out of thin air. Maybe we do, but we're the US government.
Cheeky. That's the system we're in. That's the system we're living in, my people. So shout out to XRP Darling. And XRP Darling reposted a post from Sologenic. And Sologenic says, introducing our new head of strategic partnerships, Mike. With 16 plus years in financial services and fintech business development, Mike is the driving force for Sologenic's institutional arm. His addition will propel our innovation and partnerships to new heights. Hashtag go solo. And XRP Darling says, I wonder if he's the guy who closes the deals. Hashtag solo. Hashtag solo nation. So I posted, Solo serves as the main automated market maker for facilitating trades between crypto and tokenized traditional assets within Sologenic's ecosystem. Increased Solo trading volume improves liquidity and earns liquidity provided rewards for participants. Hashtag go solo. Hashtag solo nation. Hashtag XRPL. So Kappa said, can't talk about coreum without mentioning Sologenic. Look, you see, Sologenic's tokenization platform was built to bring mass adoption to XRP, and it can also bring mass adoption to coreum. And Chad Solo at History Hulk said, patiently waiting for the sleeping giant at Real Sologenic. Solo on the XRP ledger. So my people, appreciate you all for the love and support of the channel. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share the video for me. I'm Solo Scrooge with the Solo News. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.